All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Hosting Online Events 101, Plan, Execute, and Get Paid. So as everyone's coming in, just so you know, we do have closed captioning turned on. You just hit the CC at the bottom and you can read what's being said. You can move that copy around, that text around in case it gets in the way of something. So it is movable, which is really nice. And make sure you have your worksheet ready and available. So we're going to be filling it out as we move through this webinar. And I'd love to see you walk away with some next steps and on how to make your event a success. So and if you didn't download it, I'm pretty sure we're going to pop the link into the chat so you can download it that way as well. So have that worksheet in front of you. And while we get started, if you could share where you're tuning in from, I'd love to know where everyone's coming in from. And if you're currently hosting events, just a simple yes, you are, no, you're not. And if you are hosting events, what type have you been hosting or currently hosting? Would love to find that out. And at the end of this presentation, I'm just going to share a little bit about our Events That Monetize Group Program, and then we'll have about 15 minutes for questions and any clarifying questions that you have. We'll get to those at the very end. So also, if you have actually any questions that pop up for you as we move through this webinar, just share them. Go ahead and share them in the chat. I've got two lovely ladies that I'm going to introduce in just a second that are monitoring the chat. So they'll either answer it right away if they can, or save them to ask at the end. And you can always more than welcome to come off mute to explain yourself a little bit more, like where the question's coming from, and we can talk it through, or Aaron or Sarah would be happy to say what your presentation is or what your question is. Okay. So a little bit about me. My name is Christina. I'm the founder and CEO of Sprout Creative. We work with small business owners who are busy running their business. They're feeling very overwhelmed with marketing, and maybe their growth has plateaued, to turn their marketing into a manageable, automated, stress-free marketing machine. And today, these lovely powerhouse ladies that I have on this call are my co-collaborators. Sarah Alapin is the founder and CEO of District Bliss, which is a community of creatives and business owners who want to expand their networks quickly, build their businesses with ease, and just find their people. Who doesn't want to do that? And then Aaron Perkins is the founder and CEO of Mabel EQ and deaf entrepreneur, disabled rights activist, and accessibility educator dedicated to making the business world more inclusive. So they've helped with the content today that I'm going to go through, as well as a group program that we run to dig even deeper into hosting and monetizing events. So today we're going to cover number 1, get started, number 2, get visible, and number 3, launch, launch that event. And we're breaking it down this way. It just kind of helps focus in on sort of the different pillars that we have for event success. So let's just get started. You've got your worksheet. We're going to cover number 1, understand your purpose, goal setting, and shape your brand. So understand your purpose, determine your why. Grab that worksheet. This is the very first question on number 1, page 1. Why do you want to host an event? It's so important that we start here so you can really stay focused and know where you want to get to. When you know your why is, and you have that close to you and close to your heart and in your brain sitting there, it's really kept at the forefront of all the things that you do and the decisions that you're making. So it really helps you to remember your values, so that when it comes time to make those tough decisions, you're doing what's best for you and your event and your company. So why do you want to host your event? Let's explore some ideas. So maybe it's fill your funnel. And funnel, marketing funnel, sales funnel, however you want to word it. They all have a little bit different essences to them, but it's really bringing about awareness to potential customers or clients then generating more leads through that awareness, and then connecting to potential prospects or paying clients and customers. Maybe your purpose is just to showcase your expertise. Maybe you just are really wanting to become a leader in your industry, someone that people seek out information and education from. And it could also just be good old fashioned, look, I'm here to sell something. Totally fine. Maybe you've got a product that you're launching or a new program that you're launching. That can completely be your purpose. And perhaps you're looking to teach your audience about something and it's purely educational and you just want to share your expertise. And then list building is another potential purpose. List building is growing your email list so you can then continue to keep hosting webinars and talk to an audience that is interested in what you're doing and make money. Listen, there is endless ways to do this, but it can totally be your purpose. And then lastly, build a community. Maybe you are looking to gather people that are like-minded into your world and begin to nurture them. This is not an exhaustive list. Your purpose might be different than what's on this list. I'd love to hear what your whys are, what your purpose is in the chat if you want to pop it in there. And also make sure you jot it down on your number one. It can be just one purpose, one thing that you've got. It could be a couple, it could be many, and that's totally fine. So answer in the chat. I want to host this event because I want to list build, teach something, sell something, make money. Okay, moving on. Got a lot to cover. So goals are so important. They really communicate the expectations that you have with your team. And even if you're a team of one, they are a constant reminder of where you need to get to, that end goal. I speak my goals out loud. No matter what it is, I like to say it out loud. There's just something about hearing it and sending it out into the universe that something really magical happens. And I would recommend putting it on a little Post-it, have it above your computer. That visual reminder, that visual cue is so valuable. And again, even if you're a team of one, you still want to set those goals because there's something about having it, the visual cue, and you saying it out loud that instinctually you just kind of move towards that goal. You push yourself a little bit more. You reach out to a few more people to sell more tickets, whatever it might be. So question number two, what do the letters SMART mean? I mean, I gave the answer away and you also probably already know most of them, some of them, maybe 4 out of the 5, but be sure to write them on your worksheet so you can really begin to build out your SMART goals. There's a reason everyone uses SMART as the acronym because it works. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-driven. And this is going to be different for everyone, but we've got a couple of ideas, 150 tickets sold by the completion of your event, or maybe it's deploy 4 emails prior to the event, posting a minimum of 10 social media posts, capturing 200 new emails. It can be whatever you want it to be. And so write down, what is your number one goal for your event? Do you already have an idea? Just go with your gut. And also know that you don't have to stick to this goal, right? It's not written in stone, especially if you're just starting out with events. It's really hard to know if I'm going to sell 150 tickets or not, or if I'm going to have the capacity to even send 4 emails out or create 10 social media posts. I don't know. So that's okay to sort of jot down what you think you might be able to get to, and then change them up and massage them as you get closer to your event. And it's a really good learning moment to look back and see, okay, what goals did I hit? What goals didn't? How far was I away from them? And then you can alter and change it moving forward. So it's totally fine. But really, when you do have that goal, speak it out there into the universe, write it out there on your bulletin board. Like I said, there is something magical about getting it out there that, maybe it's not magic, but I definitely believe it seeps into your subconscious and you just somehow really strive to make those goals happen. All right. Shape your brand. So You can't assume that you know who your audience is. Be open to trying new efforts, and you'll be surprised how many more people you're going to be able to reach. So, what are some types of accessibility efforts that you can incorporate quickly and easily? I'll list out 4 ideas that you can write down right there on. So, we're still on page 1. I'm going to give you 4 ideas. These are super easy and very, you'll walk away, you'll be able to implement these right away. So one of them is captioning, which is really great for people that are deaf and those that are maybe not able to have the volume on at that moment. We've all been there where we can't listen to a video, but we can certainly read what the video is saying. And that's super easy. We have captions turned on right now for the Zoom. So if you need to have the volume down, you are able to read what we're saying. Number 2 is image descriptions. And number 3 is alt text. So that's image descriptions and alt text. And the difference there is alt text gives the user the most important information, while image description provides a further detail. For example, alt text tells someone that there's a puddle on the floor, and the image description tells someone that the puddle on the floor is in the middle of the floor and it's orange juice. So these are really good for your SEO efforts, by the way, search engine optimization, and to help you with your Google ranking too. So number 4 is navigation. So test that you can navigate through your website using keystrokes. And, oftentimes we'll have our event posted on our website. So you want to make sure your navigation is up to par on your website. Showcasing that you are accessible and calling it out so your audience knows that you are accessible is so important. It's just as important as being accessible, letting people know that you are accessible. So, and the reason is accessibility actually benefits more people than it doesn't. So you're now opening yourself up to even more of a percentage of the population than you would have initially. Okay, second bullet point on here, test your tech. This is a rookie mistake we have all made. So learn from us. Don't do this. Always test your tech. So if you say that your captions are going to be provided, make sure they are. Zoom now has that as an option to turn on, and it's so easy and it adds so much to any webinar. So be inclusive with your messaging and imagery. What does that really mean? So it's important to know your audience and how they'll perceive your messaging and imagery, your promotions of your event. And it's not just your copy, it's actually what images you're using. So categories to consider regarding inclusivity, and write these down in your worksheet. They're so important to remember and keep in your brain as you're building out your event. They can come in such handy, so handy. So there's ability, sexuality, gender, race, age, geography. You'll lose a piece of your audience if you're missing the mark here, right? So imagining promoting your new line of tank tops to people in Alaska, you'll have a better chance if you're actually targeting people that live in Florida, if you're selling tank tops. So additional categories to consider depending on what your content of your webinar is and what you're doing, what event you're doing, is religious and political. Okay, so we just covered get started. That's sort of, ramping up, and now we're trying to get visible. This is number 2 on your worksheet. So we're going to cover distribution, we're going to cover marketing your event, and we're going to cover activating your network. So distribution. Number 1 question on page 2 of your worksheet. First question, what are the 2 best free platforms to distribute your event on? Eventbrite, Facebook. Those are kind of the 2 mega beasts that everyone is, defaults to use. And if you're just starting out, these are really wonderful platforms to distribute your event on. So Eventbrite, the pros and cons of all these, I'll kind of break it down for you, and you can, of course, ultimately make the decision on your own. So Eventbrite is so familiar to people. We are all, we have all signed up for an event through Eventbrite, right? We're very comfortable using our credit cards on it. We don't think they're scamming us. And what's really nice about it is you're able to reach people outside of your network on Eventbrite because they will deliver your event to people. If they've noticed there's a trend, someone's, attending these types of events and your event is similar to that, they will promote your event for you, which is really wonderful. And the platform is free to use. If you've got a free event, you can pop up and boom, there you go. If you're charging for your event, there's a fee associated, and you can either absorb that fee for yourself within your ticket price, or you can actually pass that fee on to the attendees. So they'll just know, they're paying this amount with a little bit extra. And that's totally fine. And it's completely normal. And a lot of people do that. The Eventbrite backend, when you're building your event, it's fairly customizable. The landing page, it looks really, you can make it look on brand a little. There's some flexibility there to add images and video and move your copy around. So it is pretty customizable, which is really nice. So Facebook has started their own version of Eventbrite. I think they're kind of competing, seeing how good Eventbrite did during our pandemic. And so now they're offering the opportunity to host or to distribute your event straight on Facebook. And people can register on Facebook. You can charge people through Facebook as well. There's no fee, as far as I know, associated with that right now. I think they're just trying to build the attention for that. The problem, kind of the downside, is that there might not be a lot of people trusting putting their money into Facebook. Maybe there's also it lacks that creative space that you can build out your event and attract people and pull them in. There's not a lot of places for imagery. There's not a lot of places for your copy to be bolded or bigger than other copy, things like that. So it's just kind of one long text, which doesn't look really great. So formatting is really limited on Facebook when you post your event on there. So another distribution place for your event is your own website, right? And this will bring a ton of people to visiting your website, which is great for your ranking. And you also have a huge amount of creative freedom to make your landing page exactly how you want it to make. And it'll be on brand and you can, go big, right? It's a little bit harder though for people to just outside of your network to stumble upon your event if they're just searching for your event type. So for instance, on Eventbrite, you can search, if I'm looking for pottery class, I could just boom, look for one on Eventbrite. And I can also look for one on Facebook and something will pop up, but it'll be a little more difficult for them to find your event through your website. There's also some really good industry specific distribution sites out there. This totally depends on what your industry is. So do some research, look into it. And there might be some websites that you can pop up your event on. So my recommendation, if you're just getting started and you're like, oh, that was a lot, overwhelming, start on Eventbrite. So put your event up on Eventbrite. Take that link for people to register and put your event up on Facebook, but use that Eventbrite link. So now people see it on Facebook, but click over and join through Eventbrite. And then also post on your website using the Eventbrite link as well. And then post on industry specific sites, again, using that Eventbrite. The reason we're doing this is we're trying to funnel everybody from all these different places that you have your event into one specific space, because you're going to want to create some email series where you're communicating to attendees, and you don't want to have to do it here and here and here and here. So by compiling them all and all the emails are sitting in one space on Eventbrite, you're able to just do a one-stop shop communication. All right. So marketing your event, my favorite subject. So write this down on page 2 of your workbook. Having a strong event description that is accurate is important, because you only have 6 seconds to capture your audience's attention. This is your moment to pull them in. Okay. So be sure, again, accurate, and you remember that you only have 6 seconds. So what are the most important things that you can pack in there that they'll be able to glance through and read right away? Be sure to keep the imagery and the message looking the same. So if you create a certain set of images for your event, make sure it's the same across all capacities, your email, your social media, your website, and the messaging as well, what you're saying, your copy, your content. And use every platform and resource that you have at your disposal. So post on all the social medias, connect with your networking groups, leverage those personal relationships, and also share in Facebook groups if you're in some, or Slack groups. Sarah on the call actually shared on, oh my gosh, the next door, one of her events, because it was appropriate and it worked. So the number one mistake that I see time and time again, over and over, is just that, is time. People aren't giving themselves enough time to plan for their event, to market it. And it's the marketing rule of 7. So somebody has to see something 7 times before they make an action, before they sign up for your event, before, they click and buy that ticket. So it's so important to give yourself that really long runway building up to your event. It's so much harder to fill one if you've posted it and 3 days later your event happens. And I've seen this happen. I've done it to myself. Look, it's really hard to sometimes plan ahead, right? So on the last 2 pages of this worksheet or workbook, we have put in this communications calendar. This is so valuable and so gold, and can really help to organize yourself and back into, okay, when do I really need to start marketing for this event in order to really fill it? And we don't have dates listed on here. We've broken it out week by week. So you can yourself break it out week by week and just tackle it each week, instead of feeling like, oh God, this is a whole month of content I have to create. This is giving you 3 weeks to prepare, or 3 weeks to market your event. I would say give yourself even more time if it's more than like an hour kind of webinar. You want a longer runway there. So I'm going to run through the key real quick so you can kind of know what is happening on this on this calendar. The turquoise color, events to do, these are sort of your back end things you need to do, like setting your goals or prepping your work or your webinar, and then actually doing the launching of the webinar. So these are sort of back end things, operational, if you want to say. There are 2 email components listed here. So one's email marketing and one's email difference is, and you might want to jot this down too. So email marketing is to your list of people that have not attended your event yet. So non-attendees. This is you trying to pull them into your event. The email nurturing, which is at the bottom, the pink one, is these are your attendees. These are people that have signed up for your event. The reason I broke this apart is because it's so important for you to, 1, market to your already existing list, and 2, nurture those that have already signed up. You want to weekly connect with them and talk to them and make sure they are still excited about your webinar that's coming up, your event that's coming up. And so those are 2 different lists that you need to be thinking through. And then social media, of course, this is marketing your social media, and that's in all capacities: posting, going live, doing a video, whatever you want to do. And then personal touch. So personal touch is you thinking through those people that you personally know that would benefit from the event, or that would be open to sharing your event. So you want to think about a couple of people each week and reach out to them personally. There's a lot of legwork in that, but the return is really high. So you get a good ROI on it. And then the second page, or the last page of the workbook, second page of the calendar, I just want to highlight that you need to follow up with your email as well. It's very important that you connect to your attendees even after the event is over, to share the replay or share any resources that you promised them, anything like that, or that this is the promotion that's going on, make sure you take advantage, that kind of thing, that kind of communication. Okay. And then I want to talk about activating your network. Nurture your audience, and fostering that relationship that you have with them is so important. You don't want to always just pop up when you're trying to get people into your event. You must give them something, continually nurturing them in order to get, you must give in order to get. So connection with people can really take you far, and it can sometimes take a bit of effort, right? But like I said, the return on investment it can be tenfold. You know, if you just pick up the phone and call someone and talk to them about your event, they're probably gonna say, yes, I want to sign up, and I know 5 other people. So another way to really activate your network besides nurturing them and always kind of staying connected to everyone is a list swap. So list swaps are really, you're reaching out to your colleagues to see if they're open to helping you promote your event. And in return, you will promote their event. And so now you're able to double, triple, quadruple your reach by connecting to someone else's list. Can be really, really valuable. And then there's collaborations, you know, think through colleagues or partners that you have, and understand what they're doing. And maybe there's a way to bring both of your efforts together that can help promote your event, or maybe they can be a guest on your event and also help you promote that event because they're a guest on it. So there's like a ton of varieties of collaboration options that are out there. And then affiliates. This is a really, really can be a really good way to activating your network. So tap into other colleagues. And the way the affiliates work is you actually give them a special link to your event. So one that's unique to them. And if someone purchases your product or your package or your ticket to the event, they get a kickback. You know, they get some percentage of that sale. So if you offer up that monetizing incentive, it can really help you reach those goals. Because oftentimes, if someone's like, "Oh, I just have to promote your event like once or twice, and then I get a kickback," great, and they oftentimes agree. It's been very rare where I've run into someone that's like, "No, I don't want money for a little bit of work." So ask yourself, whom could you activate today that would make a difference for your event? I bet you the names will just start kind of popping into your head. You can write 5 of them down right now. Who would you activate today? Have those names listed out. And when you walk away from this webinar, go book a call with them, send them a text, slip into their DMs and reach out to them and connect. All right, so we covered getting started, we covered marketing, getting accessible, and now we're on page 3, which is launch. Okay, yay, you did all the work, you're here, you're doing it. So we've provided a checklist of some things that we've personally forgotten, right? Or even seen others forget. So these are a list of our mistakes, basically. Don't make them. So these are just reminders of things that you really need to do and remember as you launch your event. We don't have time to go through all the things in details, but definitely promote your event. It's so important, and give yourself that long runway to give people a chance to sign up, give people a chance to see that event that you're posting 7 different times, and they're finally like, okay, yeah, I do want to sign up for that. And then make sure you're sending emails, you know, to your audience. Make sure you're posting on social media. Make sure you're reaching out to your network and leveraging them and their lists. And then make sure you're connecting to those individuals that you know can help you make a difference for your event. And then nurture your audience that have already registered. Don't forget about them, you know, over there. They might have registered 3 weeks ago, but they still need some attention. And we've, again, included those markers of when to reach out. I recommend once a week leading up to your event, and then not on that calendar, which is completely up to you. It's the countdown of the time. You know, we're starting in 3 days, in 1 day, in 1 hour, in 15 minutes, however you want to build that. Make sure you're sending those reminders too. And give, you know, when you do send those reminders, make sure the instructions are clear. Make sure you're giving them any worksheets that they might need, or saying, hey, here's some resources that we're going to talk about. And then check your links, you know, make sure all the links that you're sending out work. And here's a pro tip is sign up for your own event so you see the audience's experience. There has been, you know, when we first all started in the beginning, there's been some hiccups, I would say, some learning moments. And we caught them early because we had signed up for our own event and we're like, oh, that's not what that was supposed to be. So it's so important. And it's one of those things that you forget to do because you're just so in it, but certainly it can be really valuable. And then don't forget to email post event too. Again, we have included that in the calendar in the back of the workbook. And then, you're done. Kind of. Now it's time to evaluate your event. Revisit those goals. What improvements can you make for your next webinar to be even better? What changes do you want to change? Jot those notes down and do it right away, because the second you are done with your webinar and you move on with the day and you slept the next morning, you're going to forget half the things. So make sure you quickly note everything. And then if you're launching another event, share it with your audience, start it all over again. All right. So we covered 3 pillars for event success: get started, get visible, and launch. And I want to take a moment to talk about Tanya. She's a life coach, but specifically her focus is on women of color and women of immigrant descent to help them create lives that they love. She was hosting monthly these free webinars to support these women, right? And also give them tools to really help transition them into more happiness and a life that they really enjoyed living. But she really wasn't getting a lot of people into her monthly webinars. And the ones she was getting didn't quite fit her ideal target, which resulted in her not actually gaining any clients from these free monthly webinars that she was conducting. So something was off, right? Something was broken. Tanya attended one of our boot camps that we were hosting prior to our group program, and we had her work through our event description template process. So she overhauled her entire event description based on our template. And she realized that her original description wasn't actually speaking to her ideal target at all. She was actually targeting people that she wasn't really wanting or wanting to serve, basically. And we know that description is often the very first time someone learns about your event, and you've got to capture them in that 6 seconds, right? So it needs to be right, it needs to be accurate, and it has to be exactly what they are expecting in the webinar. So let's have a listen and see her huge sort of aha moment when she rewrote her event description. I'm hoping this works.
I feel great. I'm so excited about it now. I feel like.
All right. I might pause on that one because it doesn't seem to quite be working. It was a little glitchy for me earlier. So when she had that transformation moment, she realized her description was very conversationally. It was her almost writing a letter to an audience that she wasn't really trying to attract. So her major shift that she did was she started to lean into what are the pains people are experiencing and the gains that they're going to get from her event. And that was a big, big, important difference, right? Her description, instead of being conversational and like a social media post, it was actually more, listen, we're getting things done in this webinar. We're getting things done. Things are happening. And then with that shift, and she actually changed her title too. So her title was something about cocktails on Wednesdays or something. So she was creating an environment where people thought, oh, we're just going to come and drink cocktails and have fun. But she was really life coaching, and she wanted people that were really, truly experiencing pain that needed that transformation. And so by changing a title and her description, she still hosts these for free. She's not charging, but she began to increase her attendance monthly. And she's now actually getting clients, converting clients from these monthly reoccurring webinars that she's doing. And it's because she started targeting those right people. And through a well-written description and a changed title, she's now attracting the right kind of people, right? And it made a difference. So, we've given you this blueprint, and we'll be answering some Q&A here in just a minute. So make sure you load up your questions, and you can totally come off mute and we can walk through them. And you can also type them in the chat too, and Erin and Sarah will pop on and say it for you. But I want to take a moment because you can take what we've taught you today, and you can continue to practice it. But you still might have questions like, how should you write emails so your audience actually signs up for your event? Or even how many emails should you be sending? I get that question all the time. Or capturing those testimonials. When's a good time to ask for those testimonials, and how should you be asking? Or how do you go from a free webinar to a client? How do you sell them into your program or your promotion that you're running? And the way I see it is you have two options right now. Take this information and head out into the universe, head out into your world, and you can start to do it on your own. You can use that event account and that checklist and start to get to work, right? Or option two is you can work directly with myself and my two colleagues whose subject matter experts themselves, Sarah Alapin and Aaron Perkins, and we can help you get a plan in place to monetize your event and start making money faster. I want to take just a second and run through our event, the Monetize Group Program, and then we'll get to your questions. So this is a 6-month high-touch group program. I say high-touch group program because we have biweekly calls with me, Aaron, and Sarah. So you're not just running through this alone. You've got us to lean on to every other week for an hour. And in between those calls and in between the videos and resources that are being dripped out to you, you've got a community forum where you can ask questions, and most likely it's from people that have felt your same, experiences, your same problems too. So, imagine this, you sold out your offering through one successful event. You become seen as an industry leader, being asked to speak now at other people's events, building your list even more quickly. And you partner up with colleagues and maybe start hosting hugely successful boot camps together or summits. And you have a system in place that makes hosting a webinar monthly easy. It becomes part of your marketing fold and continues to bring in clients for you, just like Tanya, truly. And Micah, I think this video will work. We'll see. So she's the founder and CEO of Teen Forward. She actually creates programs to help teenagers and parents and families thrive through chaotic teen years. I think she's a saint, and I can't believe she chooses to work with teens, but she does. She has like the biggest heart ever. So she was hosting events, but she wasn't charging. And I mean, we've all been there. I've been there too, and it's okay. We're still there. But it wasn't feeling good to her. Something was just like draining her and not feeling right. And it was because she actually was giving too much away. She was just trying to pack in as much as possible in these free 1-hour webinars that she was hosting. And the problem too is she wasn't converting because she was giving so much away and piling so much information into one thing that she wasn't valuing her content and wasn't converting anyone into clients. And so we realized she didn't know the difference between a webinar and a workshop. She didn't know that she didn't know when to do free webinars or when she should actually be charging for her content that she's got oodles of experience and knowledge that backs her up. So we're always told that you shouldn't give away anything for free, but sometimes it's an important part of your marketing funnel, right? And that's okay. So once we really made it clear that webinars are free and gave her an outline of how they should run, meaning you cannot cover everything in 1 hour and you should share bite-sized information. It's a lot easier for people to absorb. And it's meant to showcase how you can help potential clients. This is why it's a really great tool for a marketing funnel, because if they want to learn more, they're going to want to learn more with you. They're going to want to keep being in your community and keep connecting with you. The more in-depth content that she had, that she wanted to share, she actually turned them into workshops. And that she started to charge for, right? There's like a way, getting more into the nitty gritty and like, let's charge for that. These are, they were just opportunities to go deeper. So let's listen to her aha moment. Fingers crossed.
That just cleared up so much of you just freed up like 10% of my brain for the rest of my life from that. I've been, and like Christina and Sarah know, I have been ruminating over this question in one form or another. And Sarah, you're exactly right. It's like I wasn't asking the question that I was actually trying to ask. I was like not using the right words for the, like, I was using the wrong vocabulary for the audience I was talking to. So this is so great. Yes. It's like brighter in my room right now. You can't tell.
Oh, good. Yay. Oh, that's awesome. That makes me really happy. Yeah, so you hear how she said the right words to the right audience. So people were coming to a free webinar and she was just dumping so much onto her. So onto them. So after that sort of aha transformation moment, she really began to share the appropriate amount of content in her free webinars. And they began to convert new clients into her program that she had, Parents and Teens program. She's now hosting workshops that she's charging for, and they dive even deeper into her topics that she's an expert on. And these next level sort of classes or workshops she's able to charge for, and that feels really good. You know, she's getting a return on her investment. Because her attendees now find a lot of value in what she's offering, she's able to book private clients as well that need an even more personalized, deeper touch, you know, more work. Who doesn't need more work with teens? Good Lord. Okay. So what's included in the group program? Again, it's 6-month high touch group program. We've got 12 modules. We have ongoing access, you know, until the internet dies, you can log in and access this beyond the 6 months. Over 35 resources, templates. We do journal prompts. We have all kinds of checklists and a community forum that you can connect with too, and event feedback. So if you're struggling, we've got you. We're here for you. And so the only question now is what is it gonna cost? So 12 modules, walking you through step by step from start to finish and not turning on the fire hose on you, that's for sure. Calls with us, access to a community of people. And we're also adding in a landing page review. So this is if you've laid out your event and people just aren't registering for it from your website. Let's take a deeper understanding, a deeper look at maybe you've got the wrong order, which often happens. A lot of people start talking about them and their company first, and then they start talking about the event. And so you might have just the wrong order and it's not pulling people all the way down to register. Bonus number 2 is a personalized video assessment. I read this statistic that people are not forgiving when your audio is off or wrong, but they are more forgiving with lighting and glitchy video. And I can't even believe it, but it's true. And so we want to assess where your situation is. And maybe there's small tweaks that we can do. You don't even have to buy equipment. Maybe there's just different tweaks that we can do to help enhance that experience. And then email marketing templates. This is, again, both for those 2 tracks, the ones that you're promoting to, and also the one that you are nurturing that list that is already signed up to keep them interested in your event. And then speaker care kit. So if you are bringing on speakers, please be nice to them, take care of them, give them all the things that they need, do a contract. So we've got a contract template for you and guidelines on how to take care of them and give them everything they need so they're able to promote to the best of their ability and get you even more people to register. And then my personal favorite is we've added a 13th module. We just started realizing as we move through the course, this is a big piece that a lot of people didn't know. So we have now added in module 13, which is building your marketing funnel and selling during your event, how to do it right. So all this is valued at $4,591, but we're gifting it to you for free. And again, the Events that Monetize program is $327 monthly payments. But, you know, sometimes it's hard, you know, to see what's not working. And when you have a community to really talk to and leaders with experience, they see things that you might be missing. We work in our own little silos and it can be really hard to bust out of that. And the real transformations aren't always happening with the videos and the trainings we send you. They really happen with the community. And that's what sets this apart, is we are high touch. We really want to get in there and talk to you and understand what's happening and where the blocks might be, and offer up a community forum for other answers to get, or other questions to get answered. And here's the material that you get in the group program. It's as much as I can fit in a slide, but we also, after each module, give you a action item list. And this is really to keep pushing you forward and keep you continuing to see small incremental results, because as you build on these building blocks, things just start to pile up and make something beautiful, you know, make something really great. And I've got some more good news for you. On top of the bonuses for free, if you sign up prior to this webinar ending, you also get the first month at just $97. So then it's just 5 payments of $327, and you get everything. So locking in that savings, all you have to do is click the link that we've got in the chat and use that code SAVE230. You get all the bonuses for free, and you get that first month at $97 before the webinar ends. Now, even if you're 1% sure, go ahead and lock that low rate in and join us. We're so ready to have you. And after the first days, you know, we want it to feel good. So you're locking the low rate, you're doing it, you're making that commitment. Even if you're 1% sure, just go ahead and do it. And if it doesn't feel right, we want that synergy to be there. We want you to want to work with us. We want to work with you. So if it isn't fitting, that's totally fine. And we'll give you a refund in the first 30 days. All right. So once again, here is the program. And again, to capture those bonuses only, you have to sign up before the webinar is over. Within 24 hours, you can still capture that first month at $97. So if you still need to think about things, that's totally fine. You can register once the event is over, once this webinar is over, and get that first month for just $97. And at this point, I want to turn it back over to y'all and see what questions do you have, and see if we can help work through anything. You've got me, marketing, and then you've got Sarah, who's like a master networker and connector, and Aaron, who is super accessibility knowledge. So if you have any questions or you want to work through anything, come off mute, or maybe there was some shared in chat, and we would love to help.
All right, Christina, thank you so much for doing that. I so appreciate it. So if you all have any questions, you can come on off mute. I did get a couple questions in the chat, but I want to make sure that we honor all of you who stayed till the end, and make sure that you get your questions answered as well, because I don't know if everyone is still here that asked questions in chat. So if you have any questions at all, and it can be very specific, and there are no silly questions. So if you have a question that that maybe is a little bit more specific to your event, like maybe the event size that you're hosting, or you're not quite clear on the difference between a webinar and a workshop. One of the questions I got in a chat. There are no silly questions. Just come on off mute and we'll get your questions answered. All right, while we have you all decide if you have any questions, Christina, would you like to answer what is the difference between a webinar and a workshop?
Yeah, so webinars are typically, I think through the pandemic, these words started to get a little murky, and everyone and their mother were hosting online events. But truly, a webinar is a quick teaching of a topic, and it's usually between 45 minutes and an hour, and you want to just kind of cover like high level information, like high level but helpful information, and it's usually moves pretty quick. There's not a lot of there's not a ton of actual work that you're getting done. It's usually fast moving, and the participants are there to ask questions if they have questions. A workshop is way more in depth. It's a little more narrowed focus of a topic. And typically there are materials that come along with it, and things that you work through and workshop. if you're hosting a workshop, they should leave with some work having been done. And these you can charge for because there is a lot more deeper level understanding and deeper level of learning and transformation really that they're moving through. Anything to add on that, Sarah?
Yeah, so sometimes you'll use your webinar your free webinar, which is part of your marketing funnel, to raise awareness about what your offering is. And then sometimes you'll funnel them into a lower cost if you have a high ticket program or a luxury program, which would be something more like your pain point isn't necessarily, your pain point isn't something that they need to solve. Like it's not providing water or like a necessity. It's providing something more like a sweatshirt that they really enjoy wearing.
Versus water.
Yeah. I mean, a sweatshirt could be, I don't know, but
it could be necessary.
Yeah, a necklace, let's say. So you can actually, if you have a higher cost item, that you're trying to sell or program, you can use your webinar to funnel into your lower cost workshop to build know, like, trust, and then funnel into the program from there. And sometimes that's a really good way to move people through, build a relationship, and then have them continue on and sign up.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
More people that host events need to know that.
Yeah. Well, and it's a question we get all the time because people really resent the idea of giving away something for free, but your marketing is all something you're either paying to do or doing for free.
Love it.
Yes. Okay. So one of the questions I got in the chat, and I realized this person had to pop off, but
they'll get it in the replay.
They'll get it in the replay. Yeah. So what's the difference between this kind of program versus something like B School? And Christina, you may have to kind of define what B School is because I'm not sure.
Yeah, B School is Marie Forleo is a pretty famous entrepreneur out there, and she's created this coursework that takes entrepreneurs that are starting their business. It's business school is what the B stands for. And so she teaches you from A to Z how to do your business all the way, from marketing to sales to everything in between. And it's robust. I have heard mixed reviews. I think the number one complaint that I've heard, I now know about 3, maybe even 4 people that have bought into it, is that you have to move through it yourself. So if you're not highly disciplined enough to move through it yourself, it is a terrible program for you. It's also not high touch like we are. So you don't actually ever talk to Marie. There's no one to connect to or answer questions. She does have a support team, but they're not her, basically, they're not coming from her brain. So you have to be super highly disciplined, and you feel very left behind if you're not staying on top of it. Whereas we developed this program because we wanted that human contact, that human connection. We're also very heart forward people. And so we want to take care into all this stuff. We are sharing our expertise, and we want to make sure you're getting taken care of and you're moving through it and getting unblocked and not just sitting there watching videos and working on worksheets. We're actually diving deeper into working through any kind of issues. So I would say that's the number one difference. And also, we're not business oriented, we're event oriented.
Yeah, that's a good point too. The other thing I just want to touch on too is that there's the community in this program that's surrounding you. So you're not just getting feedback from the experts, you're surrounded by other people who can give you feedback and who are experiencing very similar things to you or have experienced very similar things. So you're all kind of moving together. And then I also got a question about what the format is.
Yes. So okay. every other week, we send out a couple of video modules with supporting workbooks or worksheets or checklists or templates. And then at the end of the module, we have an action item. So sort of the top things that to learn and move forward with. So you can kind of keep making small incremental changes to build on your skill set. And then in between the delivery of those modules, we have a video a live Q&A call where either all three of us are on, or most of the time it's all three of us, to be honest. And you can bring whatever you want. It does not have to be related to that module that you just did. And this is our kind of community call. So we're there and available to you to answer questions and work through blocks that you might have. And then the community support is there too. And we talk about, our wins and things that we're proud of. And it could be around events, it could be around personal, whatever. We've gotten pretty personal on those. And they're just great. They offer that human touch that can help you see something that you're not seeing yourself when you're moving through something in your own little silo. It's so true. You can get so blocked into your bubble that you just aren't seeing what's wrong. And I'm guilty of it even today. We've had some bubble bursting breakthroughs. Ooh, that's a good name. Bubble bursting breakthroughs. We need to use that somehow.
I love that.
Anyway, yeah. And do you guys want to add something to it?
I had a great question. So this person was saying that, I've hosted in-person events all the time and I feel like I'm a pro at it. But why is hosting online events any different than hosting in person?
Yes. I can take it, Sarah, if you want, or you can.
I can take it, but the mail is arriving, so there is a chance that there is going to be some loud barking in a moment.
That's what I kind of figured.
You can tell when that's happening in my house. So there's a different level of engagement when you are face-to-face with people. And Zoom fatigue is a very, very real thing. So one of the most important points for hosting an online event is that you have to actually nurture those people to not just stay, but to stay engaged, attentive, interested, and continue to come back, especially if you're having a multi-day event, which a lot of people host now. So, even if that event is a challenge where you want them to show up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, well, Wednesday, you get a lot of people that drop off. Monday, you also got a lot of people that drop off. So it's about that kind of like, you have to do a lot more nurture to bring in that personal touch when you're hosting an event that's virtual, because you just don't have that same energy in the space. For our events, it requires a lot more it requires a lot more engagement. So we have to keep people engaged in the chat. We have to give them the space to have conversations, but also give them the tools to be comfortable and relaxed. And to actually enjoy and get to be themselves and feel like they're having an in-person experience. Otherwise, they don't come back. And that's one of the reasons that we have so many people who continue to return to our networking socials, is because they have that, they really feel connected to the people they've met because of the way that we've structured it. So there are a lot of pieces that go into leading up to the event to get people to show up, especially if it's free, but then nurturing throughout to keep people interested, engaged, and active and activated. Because otherwise, like, you can be sitting there multitasking.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
I love it. Leah says that she's getting ready to start hosting more online events, so she's going to need more info soon.
Yeah, it's such a smart way to build your lists or whatever your goal really truly is. There's a reason everyone's doing it. There's a reason they're increasing, and there's a reason they're not going away. I think a lot of people were afraid online events were going to go away as soon as this pandemic was over, but that's just not what is happening at all.
And the truth is, these events, because they're online, they're actually accessible to a lot more people, which is why people are hosting them more, so then they can reach more people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've gotten connected to people across the world that I'm like, I would have never known about them and what they're doing had it not been for online access. And there's so many people I've met online that I've never met in person.
Yep. I love it.
What a time to be alive.
Love it.
So true. So true.
Okay, cool. Well, should we wrap things up? We're about time. The ducky is almost done.
Erin, you should put this on your list for later for accessibility purposes. Leah is trying to figure out if she can do captions for Spanish and English. And that is a great question.
That's such a good question, Leah. Yes. Wow.
I hadn't thought about that, but you know,
it's so obvious.
It's so obvious. You can't unknow that kind of thing once you know it. And
no, because like, you know, Spanish and English are like the two like most popular languages in the United States, especially. So, I mean, eventually we're gonna see both languages like everywhere. I mean, I'm sure there's some towns and cities that utilize both languages all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
California.
Switzerland, they speak 3 languages constantly. Everything is said 3 times. It's craziness. Or like in Montreal, everything's in French or Quebecois and English. So that's a really good question. And I'm excited for us to look into that and learn more about that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone who joined. We're going to send out the replay so you can rewatch it and yeah, connect with us. We'd love to meet you and see what kind of events you've got going on.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye.
Bye.